Hey guys, it's Dennis here with Revog Games, and I'm joined by
Joshua Vayers, all the way in South Africa at
yeah,
1:30 a.m.
yeah. It's late there for Josh. He's had power outage issues, and then I had technical audio issues here for some reason. I couldn't hear Josh. Anyways, we're here. Not a lot of news this week, but there's some big things that we can talk about. Let's start off right off the bat. The biggest news this week in the video game world is connected to television. A God of War TV series is in the works at
Oh
Amazon
yeah.
Prime, which is the place that they're making Fallout. Uh, they just had this isn't a video game, but what I'm saying is like Amazon Prime is now venturing into more of these these big budgeted genre types. So they had Wheel of Time. They're working the Fallout series. Um, Now they're talking about God of War as a live action TV series. So I mean, we know The Last of Us is going to be on HBO and whatnot. So what do you think? What did you think when you first heard of God of War is coming to Amazon Prime?
It makes sense, and it's something that's made sense for a long time. Like, it was also bound to happen. Like, even before the popularity of the modern God of War that we know,
Mm-hmm.
that is in a different mythology now. But the first from the first three games alone, I knew this was going to be a movie or a TV show one day. I'll be honest, and I think a lot of people will agree with me. I'd rather have a movie. I'd rather have like
Mm.
a sick movie than a series. I don't know. It's just one of those things that it hits harder as like a movie. Like, I would much rather they do a trilogy following the first three games, you
Mm-hmm.
know? Movie 1, game 1, movie 2, game 2, movie 3, game 3.
Mm-hmm.
And that still sets them up for future movies with where God of War is going, you know? Like, hell, by the time they do that trilogy, there'll already be three new God of War games, you know? Ragnarok will be out, the one after that'll probably be coming out soon, you know? But yeah, not excited about a TV series aspect of it because
Do
it's
you,
gonna feel a bit more dragged out, and I just hope that they have plenty of action in the game. Because look, God of War, the story is great, but that game is 90% blood and gore and action, you know,
mm-hmm.
and
So
that's why it would work as a movie rather
so
than a
so do
TV
you
show.
think it's just your concern is God of War is well suited for a movie. So you're okay with The Last of Us being a TV series, right?
That makes sense for me. There's a
Okay.
lot of dialogue in The Last of Us, you
Mm-hmm.
know. In God of War, there's a lot of well, I mean, the newest game was very much a lot of like great cinematic experiences, but the previous games it really is just like you're running around killing
Mm-hmm.
stuff and it's great. I don't know. I feel like it would hit harder as a movie. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I feel like it's gonna drag as a show and it's gonna not be as popular. Or, I just don't see it getting a second series. But
Mm-hmm.
it depends what their approach is, I suppose. Like, because of the popularity, are they gonna skip God of War 1, 2, and 3 and go straight into the modern God of War that we know?
That's
With
my
our track with
guess.
his because that's the one that's most popular and that's the one that got the attention. So I feel like they might do that, but at the same time, it's like, look, even actors who have wanted to play God of War over the years, even they would have said they want to do God of War, but they don't. But this was before the new game even came out. You know what I mean? It's like the first three God of War games are fantastic. The original God of War story is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
As gory and as gory as it can be, it's an incredible story um, about Greek theology, I suppose. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not sure if I'm using the right word there or not. A bit late, so you'll have to forgive me. But it seems like they'd be missing out if they do if they do a series. I can see them doing a series based off of um the the Norse things that they've been doing. You know what I mean,
Mm-hmm.
with Norse mythology. But if they were gonna do the Greek mythology stuff, that stuff would hit so much harder as movies. Those storylines would just hit so much harder as full proper movies. You know what I mean? The first game is like a great origin. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
they could have a movie just being an origin movie. Like, I really think that if they did movies, they could have done some high budget movies and done a whole trilogy and made a lot of money, and
Mm-hmm.
with diehard fans, you know.
It's interesting though, just because uh, with God of War, my concern is one. I've only played the most recent one, so I haven't played the ones before, so I don't know how it is. there is, definitely from what I've heard, much more story in the latest
Yeah.
version than previous incarnations. However, it is very I don't know, like with The Last of Us, right? There's like this, especially with it being part 1, part 2, it's like a lot of story in terms of like where they're going, who they meet, and what's going on. And with God of War, it seems more like you mentioned, a lot of action, and then there's a lot of interaction between him and his son. But story-wise, it's not quite as, you know what I mean, as like complex, or like it's just more about his relationship with his son versus like
Yeah.
all the other stuff that's kind of going around. I mean, also, I guess the one thing I would want to know is what's the budget and what are they going to do with it.
True.
Halo, I feel we know that the Halo series is coming out on Paramount Plus. I know you're much more hyped for it than I am. Even though I love Halo, I just haven't been blown away.
It actually looks cool. For, like even like taking the whole Halo aspect
Hmm.
out of it, as a series, it looks like something I'd enjoy.
Hmm.
Except for Cortana or the AI. Just
Yeah.
yeah, it's just dumb. Like I've said it before. It just makes no sense to have a real life person play an AI when you have full CGI monsters and aliens you're shooting. Like
No.
it just like just it doesn't it I don't know. It just it takes the immersion away from me. But other than that, some of the shots that you didn't like, I
Hmm.
liked, you know.
Hmm.
So it could just be a matter of taste.
Yeah. But then I'm just concerned: is the budget big going to be? I mean, God of War is, the enemies that he's fighting, they aren't like regular humans, So the
Yeah.
budget, the visual effects budget that is involved, like I've noticed, like okay, like Game of Thrones is a very expensive show, right? Um, Game of Thrones until the end, right? The end, really, obviously, with the dragons and whatnot, and with a lot of the White Walkers, they did have to spend a lot more money on the visual effects. But in the beginning, it was all the money was put into kind of more of the production design, right? The locations, the sets, and all that. It wasn't
Yeah.
really like
True.
visual effects. There wasn't. Game of Thrones is not a fighting. I mean, later on there was some more, but it's not known as an action series. Um,
Exactly. Yeah.
but God of
Well,
War,
it's more like about politics, you know.
yes, and God of War is. I've been watching The Witcher season 2 lately, and I've noticed the difference between that and Game of Thrones is less of the money is put into. It still looks great, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't look as kind of epic and expansive as like Game of Thrones, right? The locations, they've kind
Oh,
of
of
like
course not.
they
Yeah.
kind of the locations themselves, they kind of they did the best they could, and they still look good, but they're just not quite as big and epic as Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
But the place that they are putting the money is, a lot of their visual effects, because The Witcher fights a lot of,
Mythical beings and stuff. Yeah.
yes.
Which, to be honest, I do think they could have used more practical effects mixed in with CGI because a
Hmm.
lot of those fights are full CGI,
Yes.
and in the interaction between a real person and CGI nothingness is like very obvious. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Whereas if they're like I think of so many things where they could have used like literally like you could have used blue sticks, for him to interact with, and it would have at least you could have like mapped onto that. You know what I mean? It would have at least looked a bit better than
Mm.
having a CGI thing act with nothing. It's always good to like mix practical effects and VFX if you can get a good solid mix of the two. Um, it's just. I mean, look, I'm excited that it's gonna happen. I'm gonna watch it regardless. I just feel like there's a possibility of me like falling off,
Hmm.
like watching it as a series. Me losing. Like if it's one of those things where it's like they're just talking and it's building tension and there's no like massive scenes of just him slaughtering and ripping people's heads off. That's what I want, man. I want an R-rated God of War film. I don't want a TV series that's gonna hold my hand and talk about interpersonal relationships. I want to see this man rip Zeus's head off and say, "What? Fuck you, Dad." That you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Which essentially is what he kind of does.
Yeah,
But
I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm
the guy
less.
kills gods.
Yeah.
That's what he's known for. He kills gods, Dennis. Like
Uh,
that has to be epic. If the show if he doesn't come across as a god killer, then like I don't know what's the point, you know?
Yeah, I think your concern is more about the movie versus TV format. I'm more concerned about the budget and how the visual
Yeah.
effects are going to play
Well,
out.
I'm concerned about the pacing. That's why I think movie rather than TV show. The
Hmm.
pacing of a TV show is just going to be. They'll run out of dialogue. Look. There's a lot of cutscenes in the new game, but like, if they're working off of the new material versus the old material, it's even then it's like I think they'll run out of dialogue at a certain point,
Hmm.
or like they'll have to like take some creative, do some creative licensing, or you know what I mean. They'll have to do some workarounds. That's what I'm worried about, unless it's like a limited series where it's like 4 hour long episodes and they're really well made, in depth kind of thing. It's hit or miss. I'm cautiously pessimistic, which is not a term that I want to use, but I'm
Okay.
cautiously pessimistic about it being a series.
Okay. I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm hoping it's good. I'm hoping, it captures the spirit of the franchise and everything else is on point. Like I said, I'm more worried about kind of the budget in terms of if they're
Yeah.
really
Who
going to
would you
go.
want? Who would you want cast? Out of
Oh,
curiosity.
I don't know. I mean, I've seen a lot of like Jason Momoa ones, Dave
Hmm.
Bautista.
Those are them and Dwayne the Rock Johnson are the
Yeah,
first three that came to mind.
honestly,
I can't see Dwayne doing something that
nah,
isn't comedy. He
yeah.
has to. He always does comedy. But the thing is, I think is like he suits the look the most. I think.
I think they should go with someone that is not known. I think it
That's
should be.
true.
I
They can
think.
just get a big. Because the thing is, like Kratos is like I was like when I was younger, I always thought that he was white, and then I found out that he's not white. He's actually just he's just ashy.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? That he's actually black.
Hmm.
I didn't know that, so I just hope that they cast him accurately, if you will. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Or I guess technically he's like Greek, I suppose.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Or like I don't know, but like the way he looks in the video games is clear that he's ashy,
Hmm.
like because you can tell from the paint, the war paint and stuff as well.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, no, look, it'll be cool. It'll I think that just off of like I think I'll enjoy this more than the Last of Us TV show, just because the Last of Us, as much as that game is amazing, and I think I have high hopes for the TV show. It's just something so morbid that I don't like. It's just gonna be a bit too like dark and depressing for me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like some people like that, like The Walking Dead, for instance. I like The Walking Dead, but at a certain point in time, I just had to stop watching it because it was so depressing for me.
Yeah, there is a bit of zombie fatigue. I know there was like I stopped watching The Walking Dead many
Mm.
seasons ago, but they announced like so basically I think the main Walking Dead series is done with, and now they're talking about this spin-off series with Negan and Maggie, which makes no sense in terms of the storyline. I don't know how far you got into the series, but uh, what happens with between Negan and Glenn makes no sense. Why Maggie and Negan would be
I think I
hanging
was
out
one of the
together.
only people that enjoyed the I think the first spin-off they did, which was like
Uh,
when the outbreak starts. I
yeah,
forgot what it
yeah,
was called.
yeah. I think
I enjoyed it a bit because that was like a nice different perspective. The
Mm-hmm,
Walking Dead starts with the guy he wakes up,
mm-hmm.
boom, zombie apocalypse. With the other show, I think it was Fear of the Walking Dead.
Yeah.
It was like the start of it. Like I kind of enjoyed that, but from what I was told, a lot of people didn't like it. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't finish the first season though, but that kind of caught my eye because it's nice to see the start of something or the
Mm-hmm.
origin of something, if you will.
So I don't know
But
if
yeah, I
there's
do
a
think
bit of a zombie fatigue though and
mm,
hopefully I mean The Last of Us, the good thing is that because it's really more about the relationships between, especially in the second
yeah.
one. The first one was a lot more about the zombies. In the second one, less so. It became more about humans versus
I was gonna
humans.
say it leaves The Last of Us is like from an actor's perspective, it's a fantastic opportunity to do some really fucking good acting. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like I think that's what we're hopefully gonna get out of The Last of Us is some seriously good acting and like some good cinematography to go along with it. Like I think it's gonna be a good show. Like I said, I think it's gonna be a show that a lot of people are gonna enjoy. People that have never even played or heard of The Last of Us are gonna love the show. I
Hmm.
think it's just not something that's going to tickle my fancy at the end of the day. I think I'd enjoy God of War more, even though I potentially think I might find it boring. What I will like enjoy though is the Fallout show, whenever that hell that's going to come out, because that I know I'll enjoy.
Yeah, Walton Goggins in one of the lead roles. All right, so that's the news about God of War. The next biggest piece of news that came out this past week is the announcements about Halo Infinite Season 2.
Yeah.
It's called Lone Wolves. It's coming out on May 3rd, so Season 1 will end then. They showed off some designs of kind of Spartan looks for the new season. There's going to be some story-themed events, which I'm going to, look forward to, a mix of cinematics. I
like the way the armor looks.
Yeah.
So
So
it's beefy, but it's very different.
Yeah. So, the season 1 events is kind of more of a samurai look that they've had for these events, and then this is less so.
It's more like a siege kind of like feel,
Yeah.
like you are a siege tank.
So they're going to add some new maps, new modes. The one thing, though, is the much delayed and much anticipated campaign co-op and the Forge are not going to be ready. They had they had said, to be fair, they said May was going to be the earliest that you would see these two things, but it looks like they will not be ready for Season 2. Maybe it'll come mid-Season 2, whatever, but it's not going to be with the launch of Season 2. So people are, upset.
It's been a while. Yeah.
People are upset. People are saying, I personally haven't been playing Halo Infinite online, and not because I don't like it, just purely because something we'll talk about soon is I'm totally deep into Elden Ring. So
taking over our lives. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not, it's not anything against Halo Infinite. It's just,
but it has been a while. If you think about it, like it's been a while. I'm not gonna lie, I completely forgot about the fact that there's co-op for the campaign, but the fact that it got delayed again, not a good sign. Because if the one thing is, it would have been nice to have been reminded where it's like, oh hey, by the way, the co-op is coming out soon. That would have been a nice way to get reminded about that. But instead, I'm now reminded by it being delayed, which is a horrible thing to experience. And it's just like one of those things where like I worry if by the time it comes out that the game, everyone will have played the campaign so many times or whatever that they're just not going to really want to play the co-op.
Yeah.
It almost defeats the entire purpose of having released one.
Yeah.
Like if you're going to release it this late, it's like I feel bad for the people who worked on it, because it's like not as many people are going to play that co-op now. You know what I mean? Because they're just not going to be interested. They're still going to be playing multiplayer, which I guess is what they focus on more, and it's the reason why there's been delays. Is because it's more of a focus on their live service.
Yeah, people are just complaining there's a lot of issues and not a lot of content coming out for Season 1, even though, the core gameplay is very good, and people all, So I think this Season 2 is kind of going to be a make or break for Halo Infinite, It's because people love the gameplay, but then they weren't happy about all the other stuff. I mean, personally, that stuff didn't bother me as much just because the core gameplay is good. I just, like I said, I haven't been playing because Elden Ring. But I'm looking forward to it.
Same here.
I probably will play some more after I get done with Elden Ring. Who the hell knows when that's going to be, seeing as it took me 22 hours to beat the first boss. Like, I finally beat the first boss and the Tree Sentinel.
Look, the first boss, Margit, it's quite difficult. It's a lot more. It's actually technically, in my opinion, easier to fight a dragon than the first boss.
Yeah, but I also
yeah.
I cheated. I didn't cheat, but I did you use the what's her Margit Shackle?
Margit's the first big boss guy.
Did you do the shackle?
What's the shackle?
Oh, you didn't know that? So I looked this online because I was just looking for some tips. So basically, there's a guy, Patches, from all the other Souls games. Have you run into him in the caves?
No, not yet.
So
I watched a live stream of someone running into Patches, and I'm not gonna lie, it was hilarious because at first he fights you,
yes,
and then you get him down to a certain part of health, and he surrenders,
yes,
and then you're like, oh, okay, whatever. And then you can buy stuff from him later on.
So
But there's
what you
also
gonna?
a chest near him that he's like, oh, I'm saving that for someone special, a special customer.
Yeah,
You open it, and it teleports you in front
yeah,
of a fucking giant bear, and you're
yeah,
like, Patches, you asshole.
yeah.
Patches sounds like a real troll.
So you could, when he says "I give up," you can choose to kill him or not. If you let him live, like you mentioned, he becomes a merchant. But he sells this thing called the Margit shackle, and
Okay.
so what you can do with that, you can do it for the first boss, Margit. What's the full name?
The Foul Omen.
Fell Omen.
Margit the Foul Omen,
But
yeah.
there's like a later on, there's another Margit enemy. And anyways, you use this shackle, and when you do it, it locks Margit to the ground for like 2 or 3 seconds. And
Oh,
then,
oh wow.
and,
That's
and
super handy.
yes, and then so I had my wolves, my summon wolves. I had Roger. How do you pronounce it? Rogier, Rogier,
Ragier
Rogier.
as a summon, yeah.
I had him, so I locked Margit down, and then we're just all three of us are just like wailing on
Hell
him.
yeah, dude.
So
That's the way to do it, man.
so
But this is what I meant by earlier, where Elden Ring is designed in a way where it doesn't have to be difficult. Because if you go around exploring enough, if you find a way to
yes,
combo certain items and stuff, you can technically be overpowered against certain people. So it's all about the way how you play the game. Like I've played the game to the point now where I find Margit very easy.
hmm
But you have to have summons. Like you have to have someone else like tank the most of the damage. You need
yeah,
like I summon Rogier, and then I summon my own summons because if you summon an actual player instead of Rogier, then you can't summon your summons. And I think you're limited to the amount of flasks you can use as well. So it's better to summon like the in-game NPCs. Like Rogier is an NPC. You meet him at the round table eventually.
hmm
If you defeat Godric and talk to him, well,
I've
you'll
not
meet
fought
him
him
in
yet.
person.
I've not fought
Sorry?
him yet. I haven't fought him yet.
It's difficult to get to him. I'll be honest. Like fighting him was tricky for me, but it was more difficult to get to him, to getting through the castle to get to him. But yeah, once you defeat Godric, Rajir will give you his +8 rapier,
hmm
which is really good. It's already like leveled up to +8, and he gives that to you. And it also comes with the ability that I'm sure you've seen him use, which is those swords that appear above his
Yes.
head.
Yeah.
So the item has that the sword has that attached, and he also sells you
I bought
some really cool Ashes
yes,
of War.
I did
Yeah.
buy an Ashes of War from him. I'm in the Stormvale Castle right now. I haven't gone to Godric yet.
Wait, so you found him in the church, right? Or in
Yeah.
that little?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, then you're about there. Like you're gonna work through a certain area, which is like another like house area thing with like a mini boss down there. It's the same creature as the very first boss you encounter that kills you, like the very first thing, that thing with the
hmm
knives, you know what I'm talking about?
hmm
So you fight one of those, but because it's on the first floor, if you have range, you can literally just stand on the second floor and just use your arrows to pelt him
hmm
until he dies. Once you clear that area, you exit. And that's for me that's the difficult part because you exit to like a shit ton of archers and you just have to like dodge and roll and find your way
Oh,
around it and find a safe spot.
no. You know what I did is I used this stone sword key to open up. One part was to get some
Oh, I
more
saw
stuff.
that. I didn't. Yeah, I didn't
And
see
there's
that
another
see that
one
area.
that takes you behind them, which helps.
Okay, that's that's very useful. 'Cause it took me forever to get. I didn't know about that, so it took me forever to like get through that area.
Yeah.
Um,
So
but
I
eventually
use
I got to him. Yeah,
it
got to
puts you right
Godric.
behind them, and then you just take them out, and then
That is very handy. Yeah. Man, this game's taken over my life. I love it though.
yeah, I
It's
love
such a
it
fun
too. I
game.
suck at it though. I suck at it. I'm like
I've
22
never. I
hours.
still haven't. I mean, I still haven't been able to beat the Tree Sentinel legitimately.
What do you
Like the
mean
only way I
legitimately? What do you
the
mean by
best way to fight the Tree Sentinel is he can't jump. So when you have your horse, you can just double jump onto those like giant columns and just stand on them and like range him to death. You know?
Oh, I beat him legitimately, but I use like
Nice.
I use the,
I mean, you got to use summons and stuff.
oh
as
yeah, yeah. I
well, you
use the
know?
kitchen sink. I like I I summoned the wolves, fought him, and then I would run in with the horse and fucking slash him, and then run away and back and forth and back and forth,
Yeah.
and finally killed him. I mean, the problem is
Yeah.
like the. To be honest, I haven't gotten any good weapons yet. All the weapons that I've gotten
Mm.
so far are like pretty. they're always like
Well,
weaker than what I already have. So it's like,
yeah. What's
like
the
what's the
point?
point?
Well, you got
Yeah,
to look at you got to look at what the ashes of war are attached to the weapons and what the stats are. Like some weapons might be weaker than your current weapon, but if they have the ability to inflict bleed, because bleed is insane in this game. If you
yeah,
can inflict bleed on somebody, it's like it's damage over time, so you can just spend time running around them while they bleed out. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Bleed is a huge play in this game. So if you have, like, I think in that first encampment area that you come across after the church, where you get your first Ashes of War and the ability to use Ashes of War, in that area there's a place where you can get a great sword and a mace, not a mace,
I have a
a
Morning Star.
flail.
Yeah, I have a
The Morning Star,
flail.
yeah.
I have a flail and a Morning Star. My flail, I don't have the attributes yet to
One of
work.
those should
The
have
flail
bleed.
the flail has bleed,
Yeah.
but I just don't
I
have
think you need
the level up.
18, yeah, you need 18 dexterity for it. But if you do, that's a very,
Yeah, I
very
think
useful item to
I
have.
think I'm at 16 dex or something like that. But overall, I'm
Yeah.
level like 45. What level are you?
Nice. With my new, I started a new character because I told you the other day that when you defeat the main enemies, you get this thing called a remembrance.
Yes.
So I never played the previous Dark Souls games too much to know that this is like they changed the name obviously, but this is an item that in previous games have been known that it's like you can use this item and turn it into a weapon, or you can immediately use it for like 20,000 souls or 20,000 runes in this
Yeah.
game. I didn't know that, so I just pumped it. I was like, oh my gosh, 20,000 runes on top of like the extra 12,000 you got for killing Godric. I was like, hell yeah, points. And then I found out that I could have swapped it out at the round table with this weird lady, and she would have given me one of two choices: either a giant great axe
Mhm.
or a freaking um, gauntlet. But it's a dragon head gauntlet, so you can punch with these dragon head hands,
Mhm.
but they can also shoot flames. Like, and I was
Oh
like,
man.
so I restarted the entire game, and I didn't mind at this point because I had restarted so many times where I've got that beginning area, Limgrave. Limgrave is my bitch. I've
Yeah.
made that area like I've done everything, and I was actually able to catch up pretty quickly to where I was. So I
Yeah,
think now I'm
a
at
lot of
about
the
level
game is
38.
figuring how the game works and where to
Yes.
go and what to get stuff. So even though I've only beat the first boss, I've been like almost everywhere. Like there's
Same,
only
yeah.
only a small part of the map I haven't been to because I've just been running around. I've been picking up a lot of, stuff to try
Finding
and
new areas and stuff,
yeah, trying
yeah.
to get,
Meeting
all my
weird
stats up.
NPCs and stuff. Going to
Yeah.
little dungeons.
Yeah.
Like that's how I found I got lucky.
Did you get the spirit tuner?
Um oh, you mean the
What's her
ability
name?
to
The girl?
level up your yes, I did. I forget her
Okay.
name though, but yes, she gave you the
Rodrika.
jellyfish.
Rodrika.
Rodrigo, yeah, she gives you the jellyfish, and then once you're inside, okay, well in that case you must have been to the area I was talking about with that mini boss because that's the area you have to pick up an item, take it back to her,
Oh, I didn't
and then
I didn't
she.
get the item. I just talked to her and then later she ended up showing up at the round table. I didn't get anything for
Okay,
her. Yeah.
then you must have picked it up without knowing what it is or something
Maybe.
because she tells you she like go and say give my apologies to the something or whatever, and there's like a pile of corpses in the castle somewhere, and
Mhm.
on this pile of corpses there's an item you pick up. When you do, she then goes to the round table.
Hmm.
By the way, if you go back to the place where you first met her, there should be a golden seed
Yes,
waiting
I
for
got
you.
that. I got that.
Yes. Okay. Good. Yeah. And then you can upgrade. I've upgraded all my spirit people, all my summons up to level 3 so far.
Okay,
Um,
I'm
I
only
I
level
think
plus
yeah.
1 on my spirit on my
Yeah,
wolves.
that's because the first the first dungeon that you like technically is in the game just north of the first area. That's where you get those level 1 seeds. There's another dungeon more like northeast, but still in
Mhm.
that Limgrave area where you can get like level 2 and 3, I think. It's a difficult dungeon, but you can just go over and over again so you can get as many as you want and you can make all your stuff up to level 3. I will say the reason I think I got lucky with, like, for me, beating Margit and Godric in this past run was super easy for me because I got a really good summon. I found this area. It's like southern Limgrave
Mhm.
area, and I saw a giant bear there. It scared the shit out of me. I ran away. I found a building, went into it, and it was an elevator going very, very deep underground. And it was this whole underground city with its own beautiful night sky. Not what I was expecting. Apparently, there's a lot of like underground like areas in Elden Ring.
Mhm.
There's a lot of
Mhm.
things you take to go to like different levels. So there's also not only is it a giant map, but it also has vertical areas where you can go lower in like underneath underground, not just dungeons, but actual like whole other maps underneath the map. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, that's what I
So
love about this game. What I would say
mm,
about this game is I love it. Honestly, it's ended up being probably one of the best games I've ever played. But
yeah,
I don't think I would ever go back and play Souls games because the reason why I love this game is because the open world nature lets you explore to all these different areas that you've never seen, and
it's
also
accessible to newbies as well.
it
Like you're not,
gives you a
it doesn't
chance.
lock you in.
Yes, it gives you a chance to upgrade yourself. If there's something that you can't do, much like me not being able to beat the Tree Sentinel or the first boss, it lets you go to other places, upgrade yourself,
Correct.
and come back later when you're better, right? But you can't really do that in the Souls games, at least from my understanding, because it's much more linear. You just gotta
It
figure
is,
out
yeah.
how you just gotta figure out how to beat them, and that's just
What I do like is that the game doesn't hold your hand. Once you figure out the game, like I said, the game gets a lot easier because you need to figure, and there's so much to figure out, like in
mhm.
terms of the mechanics and how they work together. But so it's overwhelming because the first thing you do is you're following the trail, right? The game's like, hey,
Yeah.
follow this golden trail from like like I always forget what they're called. Like they call them
S-
campfires, but they're not
the
that.
side of grace.
Side of Grace, yeah,
Yeah.
because you follow that path, and if you follow that path, it takes you to Margit. You know what I mean? And then if you're there and you haven't like fought anything, because that's what happened to me the first time I played the
hmm
game. I followed the map, I did what I was told, and then I ended up facing Margit, and I was like, and it was like the first thing I ever fought, and I was like, of course I'm gonna die. I died brutally, but the game does that on purpose. Because the game's like, okay, cool, now you can go explore the rest of Limgrave and come back here later, because that's what you're supposed to do.
hmm
Well, I mean, you can go straight to her if you have what it takes, but they intended other people to like find other ways. There's also ways where you can completely bypass, as you know, you can bypass the entire
Yeah, I
storm
did.
cloak, storm veil. Yeah, because you can
Stormvale.
just go around
I
it.
did it. I
Storm
did.
veil,
I
yeah,
did that because I couldn't beat Margit,
yeah. So
and so I
technically,
just
you don't have to beat Margit or Godric. You can skip that entire
yeah. So I
area.
just went all the way around,
Yeah,
and I went to the whole northern west region. Like,
yeah.
of course I was underpowered, but I was just like running around there. But it's just so cool
And there's some
seeing.
good stuff to get there as
I
well.
absolutely love the world. I mean, this is just the thing that sold me the most is I love the world, all the different things, the exploration, all the nooks and crannies and little secrets and
I've restarted this game so many times, Dennis, and I haven't regretted any of them
hmm
because I keep like messing up my build or like wasting something that I didn't know. Because you learn through trial and error. And I was talking to my girlfriend the other day, and she's like, "You've created so many new characters and played through the intro so many times, isn't it? Like, aren't you sick of it?" And I was like, "No." Because it's like I'm not like I'm so enthralled and obsessed by this. Like I'll restart my character 100 times. I don't care.
See, I think I'm
It's
just
too
gonna
much
keep
interesting
going
things
with
to do.
mine, and then as soon as if I ever beat it, I'll start over with the mage then instead of
Magic is fun, Dennis. I will
uh
say magic is fun in this game. I'm playing a intelligence dexterity build, which means magic, shooting
mhm.
magic fast or some using your spells fast, but also being able to use really like quick swords like the rapier, for instance, or
Mhm.
like any like thrusting type swords, stuff like
Uh,
that. I made the mistake to like even out my characters. Like a lot of my characters, I was like, oh, let me just try to keep my stats level, and you shouldn't do that.
no, no.
Like depending on the way you're
Listen,
building it, you might never need to use faith, or you might
nope.
never need to
I
use
don't need
arcane.
faith or arcane on my. I'm all
Exactly,
strength,
yeah.
vigor, some dexterity, and what's the other one? Oh, some endurance.
Endurance.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
endurance.
Um,
Yeah, I see. For me, I got everything at the base level 10, and then after that, I just put it all into like intelligence, dexterity, and then vigor as well, because you need health
but
and
yeah,
mind.
vigor is
So you
a
want
must
that.
for no matter what build you do.
For anybody, yeah,
Yeah.
you gotta put into vigor.
Quick note, because there are two related topics I wanted to talk about. I mean, this is good news. Well, good news, bad news.
Yeah,
I'll start with the good news first. So the Elden Ring Bandai Namco is doing a salary increase for all the developers. So
that is great. That's
yeah,
amazing.
yeah, they're getting an 50,000 yen monthly salary increase starting
That
April.
that's good
So
for them. Yeah.
So success. That's how. It's
What's that?
kind of
That's
how
like what,
like.
like a five? Is that about? That's like a $5,000 increase.
Let me see.
I
50,000.
could be wrong on that, but I think it's like a $5,000 increase. That's pretty good.
No, it's $500. It's like
Oh
$500.
wow,
Yeah.
way
Still,
off.
still not bad.
Well, yeah,
I mean,
tells you how much I
remember
know
this,
about video game developers and how much they get paid.
but that's like average month. This is average monthly, so obviously some people are gonna get
Yeah,
more, some people might get less. I don't, still extra 500
yeah.
bucks a month is not because that's $6,000 a year.
Oh, they're saying that's for like the new graduates.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So there's people that are getting more. But anyways, it's just nice to,
definitely.
see
Okay,
a
yeah.
company be like, oh, look, hey, we're successful. We need to spread some of the, because usually what happens is a company's successful. You know what they'll do? They'll do one or two things. And I've known this from
Greed.
experience. They will either, nothing will happen. Doesn't matter the success, you get nothing. Or I've seen, because they want to increase profits, they'll start doing cuts, either in
Mm-hmm.
personnel or in costs, resource costs, and then just to make the profits even more. It's I don't know. It's such a corrupt system.
And
So
this way you get to keep your developers as well, because you're like, well, shit. If we're gonna make a sequel one day, and it's gonna take us 10 years to work on the sequel,
mhm.
at least like this is a good way to keep your developers,
Yeah.
and to let them know that they're wanted and appreciated.
Yeah. So on the bad side news, I wanted to mention, and this is affecting both of us, the PC version.
Oh God.
Man, like I've been playing how many hours? 22 hours. That's 22 hours of super frame rate stutter, like, and
It's
it
gotten better, but it's still there. Like
and,
it's
and
better
it
than it was at
happens
launch, but it's
randomly.
still
It's
there.
not even doesn't even have anything to do with how much stuff is on screen.
Right?
Because
I thought I was going crazy, but I thought it was like maybe it's just new areas. Nope,
no,
it has nothing to do with that. It's just it's super random,
yeah,
and I don't know what it is. They're saying some people are saying that's it's because it's running. It's not using your graphics card to run the
but
graphics or something. I don't think that's the case. It just needs to
no,
be optimized, man. It's running smooth on consoles, and the worst is like if you're in the middle of a boss fight and that
mm-hmm,
happens, you did. You
yeah.
know what I mean?
What I don't understand, it actually worked perfectly fine day one, and then the patch that came out on day one changed it. Because I remember the first time
Oh
I played
yeah.
it was super smooth, and then as soon as it patched, it became super choppy. Obviously it's playable, but it's not the ideal scenario right now. The PC,
It's random, man. Like for me, I could have hours without it, or I
hmm
could have it every 10 minutes. It's
yeah,
random. It's literally, it's not like I'm expecting it to happen once, and like literally, like there have been days where I've played the game, no issues. You know what I mean?
hmm
Like maybe it happened once, and then there's days where it happens like almost every 10 minutes, and I'm like losing my mind. You know?
yeah. I feel like this is payback for Cyberpunk. I know it's like completely unrelated companies, but it's like, oh,
Yeah,
Cyberpunk
because we had
2077,
such a good
yeah,
experience with it.
all the
Yeah,
PC players had such a great experience. Oh, now Elden Ring, you get the shaft. I
it's
mean,
the opposite. Yeah,
I have I
console
have
players
I have
get
an
another
ultra wide
life.
screen, and I don't get there's no ultra wide version, which is
Oh wow.
yeah. So it's like when I play Cyberpunk or any other game, I get cool. I mean, damn, if yeah, I get a nice cool like ultra wide version, and nope, don't have it for
So what does it look like on your screen? Does it stretch it, or does it just
no,
have like black
just black
panels on
black
the
black
side?
panels on the side.
Oh, okay. That sucks. That's
Yeah,
unfortunate. Look,
yeah,
yeah, this game needs to be optimized. But that's the only gripe with it. Other than that, I
yeah,
think it's a freaking perfect game. Like once
it's
it's
awesome.
optimized, I mean, I'm already loving it. Like I freaking love this game. I keep playing it. I'm obsessed with it. I actually have to like force myself to stop playing so that I
hmm
don't, lose sleep because I'm enjoying the game so
Yeah,
much.
I have to
And
like kind of
that's even with the frame rate issues.
yeah. Yeah, I've kind of jumped around between rune farming and then playing the actual game, like because it's like
Mm.
I'll play the game and I'll get to a point where it's like I'm stuck because I'm just not powerful enough. Or also I
So
suck,
you'll go
right? I
farm some
mean, this is
runes,
I
yeah.
freely admit I'm not good at the game. So I need a bigger boost, right? To fight
Mm.
the enemies. It's hilarious because it's like I read some article where like some guy waited to who's like level 90 something to fight Margit.
To fight Margaret,
Uh,
yeah.
I wasn't that far off. I was level 40 something when I fought her. So, what was my point? Now I'm trying to come back to the point. I saw someone beat Margit level 1 wretch with a club.
Yep. It was gonna happen at some point in time.
I was
Look,
like,
I did do a
God.
playthrough as the wretch. I enjoyed playing as a wretch just because you're level 1, so your levels are super cheap in the beginning,
Yeah.
so you can actually get the build you want. But at the cost of having no equipment and getting equipment in that game, getting weapons, if you know where to look, they're actually not that difficult to find. But you're probably not gonna have the stats
Okay.
for it. And finding armor is a bitch in that game.
Oh yeah.
You know.
One. I don't know if because I'm a noob at Souls game or it's just me just not paying attention, but for the longest time I didn't know the black carriages had a treasure chest in them because the treasure chests were black.
Oh yeah.
And they're just part of the carriage. And so I was like, why do they make these really cool? Because I thought the chest would be in the back.
Yeah.
Well, actually, sometimes they are. I don't know how it works. But anyways, I went to one and I looked in the back. I was like, I don't see anything here. And some of them are in the front or some of them, I don't know. All I know is for the longest time, so I didn't get that first sword. That first sword that you get?
Yeah.
I didn't get that until I was level.
It's a big daddy sword though. It's level. You have to be level 18 strength to wield it. The great sword.
Yeah, but I didn't get it until I was like level 20 something. So.
Oh lol, that's all right. I mean, at that point, maybe you could actually wield it.
And then I wasted.
I still don't have enough strength to use that thing.
Well, because you're going the mage route.
I'm going intelligence build. Yeah.
So that makes sense. Like I have like a mage staff, and I have like these like mage robes, and I can't use any of that. They're all useless to me. So, all right. Anyways, that's enough about Elden Ring. I'm sure we'll talk more about it next time.
Yeah, we could talk for hours and hours, so we should change the topic.
Yeah. Yeah. How many hours do you think you're on? Not total because you change characters so much, but like your current build, how many hours are you in?
My current build, and I've just beaten Godric. I would say, with having just beaten Godric, I think I'm at like maybe an hour and a half, just under 2 hours.
Wow.
I've gotten really good at grinding that first area.
Okay.
In total, I've spent close to you. I've only spent a few more hours than you. In total, I think my total play time is about 28 or 29 hours so far.
Yeah,
that's what Steam says. Yeah.
I think I'm at 23. All right. All right. Let's move on. We can talk about that all day.
We're gonna talk about Snipe Dog.
Not Snipe yet.
Doggy Dog.
But Gotham Knights.
Yes, release date.
October 25th, 2022. Obviously, this was delayed.
This year.
They had announced a delay, but they didn't say when it was delayed to. So now it's.
Do you think it'll get delayed again?
I don't think so. I think there's enough that we've seen from it.
It looked kind of ready.
Unlike, the Suicide Squad game, this one seemed a lot more ready when they showed off the gameplay footage and whatnot.
Yeah, we haven't seen anything since, but it's probably it's got to be close or good to go. You know?
Yeah. So I think we're gonna get that, and unlike most people, like when these things get delayed, I guess maybe I'm just not. Remember when Elden Ring got delayed too? It was supposed to come out the end of last year. Because I have so many games on backlog that I need to play. I just don't get as bothered when games get delayed because it's like, well, I'll just go play one of the other 10 games that I'm supposed to, like Horizon Forbidden West, Horizon Zero Dawn, Spider-Man. I haven't finished. I have plenty of stuff to keep me occupied. And right now it's Elden Ring. How long that I've still got if things are progressing the way they are, it's gonna take me another like 40, 50, 60 hours to finish this game. So
yeah, I'll be honest. I knew Elden Ring was gonna be great, and there have been a lot of great games that have come out over the past year or two, but I have not been this hooked to a game I think since the launch of Skyrim.
Yeah,
I haven't been this hooked, and I mean hooked, like to the point where I'm dreaming about it, I'm thinking about it. There are moments where I'm sitting there with my girlfriend having dinner, and we're staring romantically into each other's eyes, and I'm just thinking about the Elden Ring.
Yeah, you're thinking about something else.
My
Uh,
mind's somewhere else in the world of Elden Ring.
well, it's like that meme where like the wife is like concerned about what her husband
Like,
is
what's he
thinking.
thinking
Yeah,
about? I
yeah.
was like,
Is it?
if I can optimize my rune farming by going
Yeah,
this route instead of that route.
yeah. It's one of the few games that I actually look up stuff.
Yeah,
Like
constantly. Because
I'll be
people are
honest,
finding new things every day as
most
well.
games I do not. I don't look up stuff at all. But this one I do. So, all right, let's move on to the next thing. Shadow Warrior 3.
Yes,
Um,
baby. Actually never finished Shadow Warrior 2. When I saw like the trailer for Shadow Warrior 3, that's what got me coming back into Shadow Warrior 2.
yeah,
And I'm definitely gonna get this game. It's always a fun game because they're so freaking action packed, man, and they're hilarious. I still to this day love the fact that the main character his name is a dick joke.
yeah,
His name
Lo
is Lo
Wang.
Wang
Yeah.
because he has a low wang. It's amazing. I
And,
love it.
and this version, it's actually Michael Moe who played Bruce Lee in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is doing the voice for Lo Wang. But
Okay.
yeah. So the reviews I saw were like that it's pretty fun, it's solid, it's short, a lot of fun, but it's not like it doesn't do anything new. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's just
It
like
just looks better if I can put
yeah,
it that way.
yeah. So
Which I don't mind. Like it's
yeah.
as the thing is like if it's one of those things if it ain't broke don't fix it. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? It's like the whole FIFA thing where it's like you're playing the same game. It's soccer. It's football. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You're playing. It's not like you're playing a new game.
Mm-hmm.
So they did make some change like character changes and things like that. I will say the game is a lot more colorful,
Mm-hmm.
which I kind of like because it reads a bit better. Like the first game was very like dark. I mean like color palette kind of like DC Universe dark, you know what I mean, where everything
Mm-hmm.
has this like grayscale kind of tone.
Mm-hmm.
And the second game they were kind of getting away from that, but it still had like very like it still felt very dark like visually. Whereas this feels a lot more colorful and it reads a bit easier. I don't know how I feel about that. Like it's almost like I mean it does look good. It's very eye catching, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's one of those games where I never cared about the story. You're just running around shooting and killing stuff, and you're like, okay, talk to this person, whatever. Who cares what they say? Because I'm gonna go run around like a badass killing demons and stuff with my samurai sword. Um, man, it feels like Shadow Warrior 2 just came out like a few years ago. Like it doesn't feel like it was that long ago.
Mm-hmm.
So it's crazy that Shadow Warrior 3 is here already.
Wow. All right. Next thing is, did you see this Star Trek Resurgence first gameplay?
I know I haven't.
Okay, so
It looks
basically,
good though.
it's ex Telltale developers. They formed a new company called Dramatic Labs, and they're still doing a
Oh, I
very
think we spoke about this. Yeah.
Telltale like game, and so they got the license for Star Trek, and they're doing the Star Trek narrative adventure game, and it has Spock in there. If you watch it, you'll see like there's someone doing a Spock voice, which is sounds very similar to Leonard Nimoy. It's gonna be interesting to see how this does. I mean, obviously you have
The
Star Trek.
graphics are like a mix between like old gen and new gen. You know what I mean?
Yes, so it's different. So Telltale used to have each
Like a
game.
cartoony, cell shaded, sometimes
Yes,
cell shaded.
they had a different look to them, where this is kind of trying to be realistic but yet cartoony. So it's see
Yeah.
how it goes.
It kind of feels like Mass Effect 3 graphics almost, but like
Mhm.
slightly better. You know?
Mhm.
Like I'm not like. But here's the thing: these games like flourish is in the dialogue,
Mhm.
in the dialogue options. You know, in
Mhm.
choosing the story elements. They've always been a very intense story game. You know, you never played them for the graphics; you played them for the story.
Mhm.
The graphics don't look bad. You know,
Yeah.
they just don't look new either. You know what I mean? But they don't
No.
look bad. They look pretty good, I suppose. So, I'm looking forward to this because I do enjoy Star Trek.
Yeah. So I'm gonna see how the reviews are for that. I do like narrative adventure
Oh my
games.
god, I'm sorry, this is so off topic, but I just saw that there's possibly going to be a reboot for White Man Can't Jump.
Uh,
Did you ever watch that?
I think parts of it.
1992,
Yeah, parts of it.
1992, Woody Harrelson
Yeah, yeah.
tries to play basketball, but he can't.
Yeah.
White man can't jump,
Yeah.
can't slam dunk.
Yeah.
Supposedly, sorry, not gaming related. That's just not something I was
Mhm.
expecting to read today at all.
Yeah.
Having that kind of reboot.
So something you alluded to earlier, FaZe Clan.
Snipe
Well,
doggy dog.
yeah, welcome Snoop Dogg as a new director and team member. So he's joined the board of directors and he's going to produce content under the brand's umbrella. You know, basically,
Mm.
he's gonna keep doing
Why
his Twitch
FaZe
channel.
Clan though?
I'm sure it's just business,
I
man.
guess
To reach
FaZe must have reached out to him first. Like I honestly thought 100 Thieves would have made more sense for this. Also because 100 Thieves is going to go public. I think they've either already gone public or they're going to go public soon, which means that you can buy stock in 100 Thieves. I don't think you can buy stock in FaZe Clan. You know what I mean? I don't know. I just never really liked FaZe. I could be biased here. I've never liked FaZe Clan. A couple of their people have been tied to like kind of shitty scams and just doing like kind of shitty things. Not like horror, not like bad things, not like cancel cult, like just doing like like cheating in Fortnite or doing really bad cryptocurrency scams. Those kinds of things. They always have that kind of stuff related to them. Um, but I do love Snoop Dogg getting more involved in the gaming world because
Yeah,
I would love that. I would watch Snoop Dogg on Twitch every day.
I mean, he's already doing that. It's just that he's gonna now do it under the FaZe Clan umbrella. I think it's just more of.
Hopefully they can up his production quality as well. Like I think one of my favorite people to watch on Twitch is Jason Mewes from Jane Silent Bob because he streams as well. He streams Fortnite. Funny enough, it's just so funny because you grow up watching Jane Silent Bob and then. Yeah, now he's streaming on Twitch, but he doesn't know what the hell's going on Twitch. Like he's playing the game and he's playing the game like he's not horrible at it. He's not. He's like he's like sometimes good and sometimes bad, which is like me when I play most games, But I can tell that with like he has no idea like how to interact with like his like he clearly has somebody else running everything else and he's just playing the game, because he's so like technologically inept. Although I do love those kinds of streams, they're still quite funny because you see it's just nice to see like people that you've either watched in music or movies stream because it's like them as themselves for the first time that you get to experience.
Yeah. So I think that's it for me. Do you have any other news topics?
I got a couple quick. I actually got a lot of small things that we can run through quick. I was gonna say I got to go to bed, but now I'm literally wide awake. It's 2:30 a.m. I've accepted the defeat in the situation, and I'm probably gonna play Elden Ring after this.
That's what I was gonna say. You probably got the Elden Ring.
Man, I was so tired in the beginning of this podcast, Dennis, but then you had me talking about Elden Ring, and it's like, oh, I gotta get back in there, man.
The adrenaline boost in there.
It is, man. It's like it's so good. And like,
there's so many places where I visited. Like I'm like, oh man, there's like so much stuff to do.
And it's beautiful as well,
Yeah.
And it's like, and it's so rewarding because you'll find like a new dungeon or something, and you'll go and you'll do it, and it's like. Yes, there'll be a boss at the end of the dungeon, but then you'll beat him and you'll get something cool out of it. You know what I mean? The game is very rewarding that way. Anyways, Forspoken, the game that was originally a Unreal Engine 5 demo, had so many different names. Now it's Forspoken. People had some issues with the main character, I think. Anyways, it got delayed for 5 months or just under 5 months. So it was going to come out in May. Now it's coming out in October. So from May 25th to October 11th. And I don't really... I mean, yeah. They say it's just to polish it more, I think. Focus all their efforts on polishing the game. But I think it's that I personally think it's more of an issue of, like, I think that they lack a vision of where the hell the game's going. Like, I think it seems like they've made an amazing world and a great character. And it's just like... You can do this amazing like running across like this giant open world, which is kind of showing off how the new Unreal Engine works. But I think that they're like realizing that building a story out of a mechanic is a lot more difficult than building a mechanic around a story. You know what I mean? I don't know if I'm making sense. You're like in terms of movies, we say like, the characters serve the script. The script doesn't serve the characters, it's one of those cases where I think that that's their actual issues, that they don't really know where to go with this game. Like I'm sure that like the game looks good and they've got some cool mechanics in it, but I feel like they're lacking like a way to tie it all together in a captivating story that's gonna catch people's eyes, rather than just be a game where it's fun to run around. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like no one is gonna pay $60 to $70 for a game where you're just gonna run around and have fun.
Mm-hmm.
Unless it's Mirror's Edge, like a game like that focuses on that. But I don't know. Anyway, so that came out. I was expecting this to happen, actually, the delay, because I don't know. Every time I see the video, it's just something about the game. I feel like it's lacking some sort of vision.
Yeah, yeah.
Like technologically, it looks great, but it's just like there's nothing about the game that makes me want to play it. There's no cool story element or any like cool mechanic besides the super fast loading that is making me want to play the game. Nothing interesting has like pointed out yet, except for how cool it is to be able to load giant areas that quickly because of Unreal Engine, The original Dying Light got a next gen upgrade. I actually saw this on Steam earlier, I think. There's a free PS5 upgrade as well. A patch for the PS4 Pro version of the game. It's getting bumped up to 60 FPS. Anyways, there's a next gen upgrade for the game because obviously the new Dying Light, very popular, and because of that, people are going back and playing the first Dying Light game because they never got to. So I think they saw it as a good opportunity to bring out like a next gen upgrade, or just an upgrade in general. I'm pretty sure I saw it on Steam too. But yeah, apparently there's still 10,000 people playing it on PC every day, like the original Dying Light, the first one.
That's not bad.
But that's not too bad, yeah. And loads of people playing the second Dying Light too. But yeah, so they got a next gen upgrade. I think that's cool. They didn't have to do that, but it's cool and it's smart because they know people are now going back and playing the first one either again or for the very first time because they've just jumped into the second game. Microsoft Activision, the Microsoft Acti Blizzard deal is being investigated for insider trading.
Yes, 3 investors that are linked to Bobby Kotick or whatever.
Bobby Kotick, yeah. I don't think anything's going to come out of this. They're just going to investigate it. Like, it's not going to come in the way of the acquisition or anything. I don't think so. Yeah, let me just read here quickly. $108 million in Acti Blizzard just days before Microsoft acquired the company and shares went up in value. I don't know. This is one of those things where I think we'll see more about it in the future. There's probably going to be some Wall Street Journal articles coming out about it. I haven't read up too much about this, but apparently there have been issues with the Lost Ark, which is blowing up, by the way. It's the MMO game that's essentially Diablo MMO. I know we've covered it a few times. Lost Ark. It's more than 20 million players now, I think, concurrently. But supposedly there are gender-locked classes, which I didn't know about that. That's low-key sexist. You know what I mean? Imagine finding out you can't play class because your character's a female, or vice versa. That's pretty messed up. And revealing outfits. And I think that they said that they are going to focus on bringing more, like they're going to focus way more on the female outfits and bringing more in that like cover the body more. But they also said that they are not removing the skimpy outfits. Which is, I guess, the developers staying true to themselves. They're like, look, we'll give you guys armor that covers the whole body, but we still want our metal bikinis, That's what it kind of sounds like. But yeah, the whole gender lock classes thing doesn't make sense. Classes are tied pretty closely to their character models in terms of function and animation. So bringing opposite gender characters to a class takes more work than just making a differently gendered model available. So it seems like it's a bit of a complicated issue, but they are working on it because they realize people aren't happy about that. They probably weren't getting flack previously before its big worldwide release. This is kind of cool. I'm going to mention it because of what's going on in Russia and Ukraine, but itch.io is offering a gaming bundle with about 1,000 indie games for $10, and all the proceeds go to support Ukraine. They've already raised about $800,000, I think, which is really good. I covered that. This is interesting. It was going to happen at some point in time, but Xcloud, which I still haven't had the chance to test because it's not available here. I think you still need to try it out on your phone sometime, Xcloud. because it comes with Game Pass, so you should be able to try it out on your phone sometime. But I think they are, because people says that it works with a gamepad or with touch controls on mobile, but they are now going to be adding. Well, they're working on support for mouse and keyboard for Xcloud. So, because you can technically plug a mouse and keyboard into your like phones nowadays.
I think what I need to do is buy one
tablets,
of those the control adapters that puts you, because I actually got a new phone. I got the new Samsung phone, which is very big.
Nice.
So being able to get like one of those, controllers and put it on. I mean, like I said, I'm not a
do you have
mobile gamer, so.
Do you have, depending on what Xbox controller you have or PlayStation 4 controller, if you have one of the newer controllers that has Bluetooth version 2 in it, you can use those controllers on your mobile device. Then in that case, all you would need to do is buy an adapter. To
my
link
controls
the two,
are kind of old. My controls are older,
Yeah.
so I don't think so.
The only my Xbox controller has all gray buttons, but I think it's the one that has the different colored buttons that could. I don't know how it works. It's really weird. They all cost the same, but some of the newer models have got better Bluetooth than the previous ones, and they work better on mobiles. But you can use like the older controllers. They just like lag, which makes no sense. But it's coming out with mouse and keyboard support, so I think that's going to be interesting. Like imagine playing Microsoft Flight Simulator on your phone, plugged or your tablet, and you're just plugged in with a mouse and keyboard there. I think that would be kind of cool. I think I mentioned this early in the podcast. I'm not too sure if I did, but Elden Ring fans think that DLC could include a PvP mode. Because they found areas in the map that they were able to glitch to or get to that you're not supposed to be able to get to, that look like clear arenas that must be used for something. So people are thinking that it's going to be like a PvP, which there's already PvP. You can invade other people's worlds and stuff, but I think more like a competitive ladder.
I see.
Which would be kind of cool, even though it's like obviously some builds are broken, but it could change the meta of the game. We're going to see how people use certain things to their advantage. Keep in mind, this is all pure speculation. Or they're thinking like it could be like for Bosch Rush DLC stuff, where it's like, hey, here's an arena and we brought out a couple new bosses and you can fight them at the arena, But they'll leave the world perfectly as is, and then I would hope so, because the world is pretty much damn perfect. Yeah, but it's like a coliseum. You know what I mean? Like it almost looks like you could technically be an audience member. Like that would be cool, as well as if you can like be in game watching other people fight in their arena. I feel like that would be cool if I could go to the Coliseum and check out other people fighting, and do like competitive ladder stuff. But that's all speculation. I don't think this game will ever get DLC, and I don't think it needs DLC. If anything, I would want a sequel, and I only want the sequel 5 to 6 years from now minimum. You know what I mean? I want them to work on the sequel just as long as they worked on this game, which is a very long time,
Put the quality and effort. I mean, you can see the quality everywhere in this game. Like, so you don't want them to skimp on it. The only thing that I would wonder is, because we already have this area. So like, for example, Fallout, right? You just go to different cities. You go, okay, the first one, you do Los Angeles, you do New York, you do, Boston, you do, Washington, D.C. In the story of Elden Ring, with the land between, like you don't want to do the same map. You know what I mean? So story-wise, you got to figure out something different.
It's got to be something
new, so that you can go look at
they wouldn't even have to tie the two together. Like I wouldn't give a shit as long as it's a whole. It can literally be a different fucking name and be a special.
I think they have to use the Elden word, because that's a unique word, so it's got to be Elden whatever.
They could do like a prequel for instance, or something like that could be a possibility. You know what I mean? Where you're still using parts of the map, but obviously the landscape will be different and changed, or who knows, maybe there's a whole different like part of the world, or I don't know how they would do an Elden Ring sequel, or even if they have any like thoughts to. I just hope that they do, because it's because I'm so hooked to the game, same way that I know that the next Elder Scrolls game is going to be amazing when it comes out, God knows when. But one of the other things I was going to bring up is that the next gen versions of GTA 5 is coming out. and it is $10 cheaper on PS5. Now, this is a discounted price. It's a $20 on Xbox Series X and S, and it's $10 on PS5. I think this is an upgrade. I think that could be the upgrade cost if you already have the game, because the standard price is $40 on both consoles. Yeah, and GTA Online, the discounted price is $10 on Xbox, and it's free on PS5. GTA Online, so it overall just seems cheaper. If you're on PS5, then you're lucky. You're going to be paying less for GTA 5, if that's something that you want to replay for the 100th time. That's up to you. And then this is something that it's worth bringing up, even though I don't think it's going to do anything. But Valve said that they're open to having Game Pass come to Steam, which is cool. But I don't know how they would integrate it, because it's its whole own separate thing. Like EA Play is its own separate thing, but EA Play is integrated into Steam. So they could integrate it, but I just don't see. I don't see Microsoft wanting to. They don't.
Well, they'd have to give up 30% of their, subscription.
Yeah.
So
it's weird. Yeah, I think that someone just asked them the question about, like, how do they feel about Game Pass coming to Steam, and they're like, yeah, sure, if they want to. But I'm sure they're sitting there going, why would they, Like, hell, if Microsoft wanted to be a part of, like, wanted to put Game Pass on Steam and we get a cut of it, of course we're going to say yes, but Microsoft's not going to do that. I feel like someone asked them a really dumb question, and that was the dumb answer they gave.
So, it doesn't make any business sense for them.
Makes no sense. EA Play made sense because it needed... This was before Game Pass was the thing, and it needed the traction. It needed the marketing. Game Pass is one of the most spoken about things in the gaming community. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't need marketing. It doesn't need that player base.
No. And then you're not gonna give up basically a monthly percentage of every single person, so
yeah.
All right. Is that it?
That's it from me.
Cool. I think I'm gonna go, play some more Elden Ring.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna have some tea. I'm gonna try to wind down and go back to bed. But if not, I'm probably gonna play some Elden Ring, man. I think it's time for me to go find that third big boss.
Oh man, I haven't even. Well, who's the second one? Godric, right? Godric's
Godric. He's the second main plot boss guy.
Yeah,
and like he's tricky to fight because halfway. Ooh, no, I was about to spoil it for you. I'd rather you see it for the first time yourself. But he does some. I'll give you this heads up without a spoiler. When he gets to half health or lower, he changes. Well, he doesn't change. That's just a bad example. The point is just be ready for something to happen at half health, where whatever your strategy was, it's now going to be slightly different.
Well, that's the thing. With that, remember I told you about the Margit shackle, where you can put Margit down. It only works in the first half health. So as soon as
that makes sense, yeah. Most bosses have like a change of form, or they change their attack pattern, or they get more aggressive. Something usually happens with most bosses halfway through.
Yeah. So.
But with him, like, I don't want to give you any spoilers, but so like the first time I fought him, I got blindsided by that, but then I was ready for it, and then after 2 or 3 tries, I managed to get him, because same with Margit, you get Rogier as a summon. When you get to Godric, there's another person you can summon. She's actually also tarnished, I believe. You meet her, and later on you could actually meet her at the round table, and I think she's someone's daughter in the round table, or I don't know, but you can summon another person to help you, and she's like a warrior, proper warrior type.
What I need is people to decoy. I need decoys, man. I need people like distracting the boss in order for me to.
And I mean, like, what I think works well is I got these summons that I use. They're necromancer summons. They're these 2 like necromancer spirits. And when they die, they actually come back to life, as long as they're not as long as they don't get interrupted while they're reviving. So, like, a boss will focus on them, kill them, and then walk away, and they'll revive and they'll come back. So it's like they like last a lot longer. So I use them quite a lot. But I have 2 very beefy, tanky summons. I got one for defeating this like deer god character. It was huge, and then I got this epic summon, which is like this really tanky giant warrior that has like a bow and arrow, so he's ranged, but he has a lot of health. So I use him as like my meat shield
Nice.
most of the time.
That's what I need. That's definitely what I need.
You need to get a meat shield.
Yeah. All right, guys. That's it for this episode. Make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel, youtube.com/Revog. Subscribe to our podcast feed, which is on anchor.fm and Spotify. You can find me on Twitter @ThinkHero and Instagram Dennis.tzng. Josh, where can people find you?
You guys can find me on Twitch @itsthespis. There should be a link in the description below. And you guys can also find me in the Revog Discord channel if you ever want to chat about games.
Yes, especially Elden Ring. If you want to talk about Elden Ring there, hit us up. In the comments below, if you are playing Elden Ring, tell us what class you did, what level you're at right now, and how far you've gotten, because it's a wide variation of
tell us your
things.
build.
Yeah.
I want to know what your guys' builds are.
Cool. All right, until next time, see you guys later.
Later.